Thank you very much, Andrew. And first, can I say what an honor it is to share this stage with such a distinguished panel. Top London QC, Indian High Court judge, an Australian integrity officer. Maybe the start of the world's best joke, this, but the subject isn't. It really is very, very important. And I really want to take an opportunity here to talk to you about global football match fixing. So not horse racing, but football, and just give you some kind of idea as to the issues and pressures that are happening there. I'm going to start very quickly with a comment from the UEFA president, Michel Platini, in the last few days. He has stressed the determination of European football to eliminate what he called the scourge of match fixing, as the relationship on the issue between UEFA and key stakeholders take a crucial step forward. Match fixing is not a fantasy. It is reality, a sad and serious reality. He urged full cooperation between the football authorities, state authorities, law enforcement agencies in this fight, emphasizing that sports bodies alone cannot conduct this fight. Since my election in 2007, he said, "I've not stopped calling for help in this fight against this danger. For a long time, I had the impression that I was crying in the wilderness. But today, I finally have the impression I'm being heard and perhaps even being listened to." This is important because we need to understand how is it that the UEFA president, one of the most powerful men in world football, one of the most powerful men in sport, is so exasperated, is so depressed, is so worried. This man will be running world football in a few years' time if his positioning is correct, and I want to try and help you understand a bit more. I'm going to walk around the stage because I feel a bit more comfortable doing that. With global football integrity, there are 10 standout issues. The most important one is there is a fundamental misunderstanding of sports betting markets. Unfortunately, the sports betting markets are not misunderstood by criminals. They are not misunderstood by organized crime, but they are misunderstood by law enforcement, misunderstood by governing bodies, misunderstood by bookmakers. Okay? We must understand the influence of Asian gamblers in this. We need to acknowledge the full extent of the problem, and the full extent of the problem is a global sports betting market worth $1 trillion US. We need to understand the difference between match fixing and spot fixing. Match fixing is about corrupting matches. Spot fixing is about corrupting individual events in matches. We need to understand about football, the age of the participants who are fixing, the role of agents who are fixing. We had a good conversation about sponsorship in the earlier session. Sponsors have a role in this as well. They are so quick to ditch Tiger Woods, so quick to ditch Lance Armstrong. But in their leagues in which they're sponsors, the teams in which they sponsor, the owners who they are cooperating with, why are they not taking action? They have a role. The importance of whistleblowing mechanisms and match fixing and criminal laws, which the gentlemen here are even more expertise than I have to talk about. But we have to understand sports governing bodies will deal with things such as the balance of probability. So to prove something has gone wrong, the balance of probability is 50 plus 1%, 51%. Criminal law is 91%, 90%, because it's beyond reasonable doubt. This is a big gap, and it has to be surmounted. So, how do we get here? Massive, massive and growing betting turnover in Asia. These are the published racing, sports, and lottery sales over the last 5 years. You'll recognize them if they're your jurisdiction. China up 250%. Japan up 14%. Hong Kong up 40%. Singapore 70%. South Korea 70%. These are enormous numbers, driving a total figure of 140 billion US dollars. 140 billion US dollars. But hold on. Where is Indonesia? Population 300 million. Where is Vietnam? Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Philippines, population 100 million. Where are their sales? Where are their betting numbers? When we talk about a global sports betting market, published numbers 140 billion US, published. Very quickly, you can see how estimates of $1 trillion US become real, and that is before we go to the Chief Justice's country of India, population 1.2 billion people. Understand the size of the problem. So how has this happened? Huge, huge software arms race, courtesy of Mr. Jobs and Mr. Gates and our friends at Samsung, fighting a massive technical battle, putting iPads, tablets, Galaxies, everything into our hands. Combine this with rapid economic development, huge sports development in Asia, football, tennis, basketball, enormous development. Some of you who are eagle-eyed will be able to spot Tiger Woods in that picture, but he's not obvious straight away, swamped by many children. And the guy standing on his left is Rory McIlroy, who's the #2 golfer in the world, swamped. Combine all this with licensed betting monopolies with very low payout rates. Go back to our previous slide. China, 68%. Japan, 50%. Hong Kong, very good, 85%. Singapore, 80%. You have low payout rates, and the street is paying out at 99%, i.e. the margin against the consumer is only 1 cent in the dollar, you have a problem. They also have a limited product range. The licensed monopolies have a limited product range, and I put the numbers 55 and 2 in brackets. At the Hong Kong Jockey Club, we can bet on 2 sports, football and horse racing. Singapore pools, football, horse racing, Formula One. China Sports Lottery, football, NBA basketball. Taiwan Sports Lottery, football, NBA, MLB, baseball. What's the 55 then? Ladbrokes, 55 different sports. William Hill, 55 different sports. Now, amongst all these administrators, I defy you to try and name 55 different sports. It's pretty tough to name 55 sports, but that's what they offer. The licensed monopolies, we cannot offer credit, and quite rightly, we understand the social impact of offering credit. We will never offer credit. That is a holy grail, and that is untouchable. But we don't offer rebates on sports. So all of this means you've got huge sports development, lots of money, huge technology, and on the demand side and the supply side is licensed monopolies which cannot provide what the illegal market can provide, what the consumer demands. Credit, lots of sports, lots of products, and rebates. Net, a global trade of colossal, illegal, and unauthorized football gambling. Brilliantly, football match fixing fits really snugly into this. Because to fix football matches, you've got to have your bets accepted. You want to place big bets, you look for where there's big turnover. Where is there big turnover? In Asia. So let me explain how this works. Dan Tan, Wilson Raj Parimal, Anthony Sunita Raj are the financiers sitting in Singapore. They've been there for decades. They've been doing this for about 15 years. But they're not the match fixers. They're just the finance guys. They're just the money. They contact our friends at the Russian Brotherhood, Eastern European Mafia, Croatian Mafia, etc., who arrange the matches for them. These nasty, nasty gentlemen, proper, serious, violent, organized crime, go to places like Africa, where they exploit young kids just starting out on their careers, or old guys just coming to the ends of their careers, and they arrange the matches. They sell this information back to the Singaporeans. The Singaporeans will then arrange where the match will take place: Togo, Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Sudan. It doesn't matter, as long as there's not much TV attention, not much media. And they will then arrange for bets to be placed. Now, the betting is key. They will have lots of people sitting in an apartment, maybe in China, maybe somewhere else in Southeast Asia, who, when given a message, will start placing bets on a football match, on this football match. And they will place bets with operations based in the Philippines. Now, the operations in the Philippines, SBO Bet, IBC Bet, have a license. They're licensed by the First Cagayan region. They have a UK betting license, Isle of Man. And interesting, their ownership structure takes you to the British Virgin Islands and Costa Rica. So my question for the QC and for the High Court judge is, Singaporean financiers, Eastern European mafia, football match in Africa, bets being placed in China with an organization located in the Philippines who are licensed in the Isle of Man, owned in BVI, where did the crime take place? All of them, all of them. He gets higher fees that way, I think, if it's all of them. All of them. There's a famous line by Alan Rickman in Die Hard where he said, by the time they figured it out, we're sitting on the beach earning 20%. That's what these guys have been doing. This is a football match crime scene, okay? As a football match goes on, the chances of another goal being scored becomes less. If a game is 90 minutes, there'll be goals. If a game is 45 minutes, there'll be less goals. If there's a game is 5 minutes, there'll be even less. What happens in Asia, what happens with these illegal markets, is that as the game progresses, the chances of a goal being scored goes up. And the stakes that the bookmakers are willing to accept obviously go down because they are aware of what is happening. This is a key slide for us because it allows us to help in our own risk management, in our own determination of, is a game corrupt? Is there a game which has an integrity issue? So, the question is, what should legitimate operators like the Hong Kong Jockey Club do to protect themselves from these very significant financial and reputational threats? Well, I was very fortunate enough to inherit a very strict risk management framework. So I took over 5 years ago. The club's been offering football betting for 10 years. And the wisdom and genius that the founders of the operation showed in setting up a risk management framework that was so tight and so good to protect the club, to allow us to offer football betting responsibly, sensibly, and intelligently, while making sure that our customers, making sure that our own financial involvements were protected. And what it basically comes down to is having a world-class trading team, a world-class odds compiling team, and a world-class compliance team that sits and works together hand in hand. Okay? Now, our team is able to understand everything about football matches. I've worked for 20 years. I would say this, but I believe it. It is the best trading team I've ever seen. The ability to understand odds movements, to realize that when Wayne Rooney falls down the stairs and breaks his leg, the price on Manchester United moves by 2.5%. And if it's Van Persie, it moves by 3.5%. And it's Didier Drogba, it's 1.8%. To understand those things, to understand why odds are moving. Is there a motivational issue? Has there been a change to the team lineups? Has there been a change to the tactics? All of these things are understood by the Jockey Club's world-class traders, and they are world-class. And also the key in this is to monitor the illegal market, to know what is happening in the illegal market and understand why movements happen, why they change. So, nonetheless, to wrap it up, football has a major, major, major issue. Chris Eaton, the former head of security at FIFA, said, "The work of the police in Europe on match fixing is the latest example of how deeply international organized crime has taken a grip on international sport. but governments cannot rely upon national laws only to defeat the illegal betting market. What we see is the illegal betting market in Southeast Asia provides the opportunity for criminals and opportunists to take advantage of match fixing. And it's because of this growth that criminals have moved into manipulating sports. And if there's the saddest message I can give you, criminals get involved in match fixing, in football match fixing, for one very, very simple reason. It's easy. It's really easy to fix a football match. If you're in organized crime, prostitution, drugs, guns, these things are hard, really, really difficult. Fixing a football match is so much easier, and the penalties compared to drug running, gun running, etc., make it a very attractive area for organized crime. So there's no doubt that the fixing is a real danger, not only to players, not only to officials, not only to fans, sponsors, but bookmakers, operators. Huge danger to us. And when we look at the whole picture, this what I call the geopolitical chessboard of organized crime, it is absolutely incumbent upon us as operators to continue to operate the strictest of risk management frameworks, but also to provide betting products which are legal and that can compete with the illegal market. There is no point having a market which is 10 times bigger than our own, which is providing products and services which we're unable to compete with. Thanks very much.